Imagine standing in your living room right now. Look around. Everything seems ordinary. The furniture you picked out, the walls you painted, the objects you arranged. But tonight, you're going to discover that 3 markers have been placed in your home by a consciousness so ancient that the early Christians called it the monad, the source of all existence. And these markers were not placed randomly. They were positioned specifically for you, in the exact locations where you spend your time, to communicate something that has been hidden from humanity since the Council of Nicaea in 325 AD. Right now, before I tell you what these signs are, I need you to do something. Stand up if you can. Walk to the nearest window in your home. Place your palm flat against the glass. Feel the temperature. Cool, solid, separating inside from outside. The glass is a barrier, but it is also transparent. You can see through it to what lies beyond. Remember this sensation because it is the perfect metaphor for what you are about to understand. If you are watching this video after sunset, if something unexplainable pulled you to click on this title at this exact hour, comment the words, "I see the signs now." Do it before your rational mind talks you out of it, because that urge you just felt, that impulse to declare yourself, that is the first confirmation that you are one of the pneumatics, the chosen ones who carry the divine spark. Subscribe to this channel right now and turn on notifications, because what you are about to learn is only the beginning of transmissions that were buried, burned, and systematically erased from Orthodox Christianity. The Gnostic teachers who walked directly with Jesus preserved these teachings in coded form, and tonight you get to receive what emperors tried to destroy. 3 signs, 3 locations, 1 permanent shift in how you see reality. Let me take you back to where this knowledge was almost lost forever. The year is 367 AD. A letter has just been issued by Athanasius, the Bishop of Alexandria. It is called the Festal Letter, and it contains a list of books that are now forbidden to read. Any Christian caught possessing these texts will be declared a heretic. The punishment is exile, imprisonment, or death. Among the forbidden books are teachings about the monad, about the true nature reality, about how the divine communicates not through churches or priests, but through the material world itself, including the very spaces where you live. When this letter reached the monks at the monastery near Nag Hammadi in Egypt, they faced an impossible choice: burn the sacred texts or hide them. They chose to hide them. They sealed 13 leather-bound books into a clay jar and buried it at the base of a cliff, hoping that someday, in a future generation, someone would be ready to receive what the empire wanted erased. 16 centuries later, in December 1945, a farmer digging for fertilizer struck that jar with a shovel. Inside were 52 texts, including the Gospel of Thomas, the Gospel of Philip, and the Apocryphon of John. And within those pages was a teaching that Jesus gave privately about how the monad leaves evidence of its presence in the physical spaces where chosen ones dwell. The church never wanted you to know this because it eliminates their function entirely. If the divine places signs directly in your home, what do you need a priest for? If the monad communicates through your everyday environment, why would you need someone to interpret God's will? This teaching was not just inconvenient for religious authorities. It was a death sentence to their power. So they tried to destroy every copy. But they failed. And tonight, you will understand exactly what to look for. Take a deep breath. In through your nose, slowly. Hold it. Now release completely. What I am about to share is not symbolic. It is not metaphor. These are literal, physical signs that appear in the homes of chosen ones. And once you recognize them, you will never see your living space the same way again. The first sign the monad leaves in your home is the object that refuses to stay in place. Pay attention to this. In your home right now, there is an object, usually small, that you place in a specific location, and it repeatedly appears somewhere else. You put your keys on the hook, and they end up on the counter. You set a book on the nightstand, and it migrates to the chair. You place a piece of jewelry in the same spot every night, and every few days it is somewhere you do not remember putting it. Most people dismiss this as forgetfulness. They gaslight themselves into believing their memory is failing. But chosen ones experience this phenomenon with such frequency and consistency that it creates a low-level anxiety. You start questioning your sanity. You wonder if you are developing early dementia. You ask others in your home if they move the item, and they look at you confused. Here is what the Gospel of Philip says, and I am translating from the Coptic directly. The powers seek to confuse the elect through displacement of the familiar, but the awakened see this as the monad reorganizing matter to gain attention. For 2,000 years, scholars debated what displacement of the familiar meant. They thought it was allegory. It is not. The monad operates at a frequency far above material reality. It does not have hands. It cannot speak words. To communicate with you while you're locked in a physical body, it must manipulate matter in ways that break the pattern you expect. The object that moves is not random. If you track it, you will discover it moves when you are at a spiritual crossroads, when you are avoiding a decision, when you are about to encounter something significant. The monad is using physical reality like a parent tapping on glass to get a child's attention. This is why the object is always something you use regularly. It has to be familiar enough that its displacement registers as wrong. If it were something you never touch, you would not notice. If it were something too large, you would rationalize it differently. It has to be small, personal, and frequent. Now, here's a technique for working with this sign. Tonight, before you sleep, identify the object in your home that moves most often. Do not overthink it. You already know what it is. The first object that came to your mind when I described this phenomenon, that is the one. Place that object in its usual spot, but this time, as you set it down, speak these words aloud. I acknowledge the signal. I am paying attention now. You are not talking to the object. You are talking through the object to the consciousness that has been trying to reach you. Then, for the next 7 days, every time you interact with that object, pause for 3 seconds before touching it. In those 3 seconds, ask internally, what am I not seeing right now? What decision am I avoiding? Do not wait for a voice. Do not expect a vision. The answer will come as a knowing, a sudden clarity that arises from within. This is the monad responding to your acknowledgement. Most chosen ones report that once they begin this practice, the object stops moving erratically, not because the monad stopped communicating, but because you finally started listening. The displacement was only necessary when you were ignoring the signal. Once you tune in, the communication shifts to a more direct frequency. But I have to warn you, the moment you begin acknowledging the sign, resistance will surface from within your own mind. Thoughts will appear telling you this is ridiculous, that you are making something out of nothing, that you are being irrational. These thoughts feel like yours, but notice how they carry a specific energy: dismissiveness, mockery, shame. Those are not your thoughts. The Gnostics call these intrusions logismoi, thought forms projected by the archons, the rulers of the lower realms who feed on human ignorance. They do not want you recognizing the monad's communication, because the moment you do, you become unreachable to their manipulation. When these dismissive thoughts come, and they will come, do not argue with them. Simply notice them and return your attention to the sign. The object moved. That is a fact. Let the fact speak louder than the thoughts trying to explain it away. The second sign the monad leaves in your home is the light that behaves incorrectly. Walk through your home right now, either physically or in your mind. How many light sources do you have? Lamps, overhead lights, candles, screens. Now ask yourself this question. Is there one light that flickers when it should not? Is there one bulb you have replaced multiple times, and yet it keeps failing? Is there one room where the light seems dimmer than it should be, even with new bulbs, even with the same wattage as other rooms? Chosen ones almost always have one light source in their home that malfunctions without logical explanation. Electricians find no wiring issues. New bulbs make no difference. The problem persists despite all reasonable solutions. And here's the critical detail. This malfunctioning light is almost always located in the space where you do your deepest thinking. For some, it is the bedroom. For others, the bathroom. For many, it is wherever you sit alone at night, scrolling, reading, or staring into space while your mind processes the weight of existence. The Apocryphon of John contains a passage that was mistranslated for centuries. The Coptic phrase was rendered in English as, "The light above does not diminish," which scholars assumed was poetic language about divine light. But the scholar Jean-Yves Leloup retranslated it more accurately as, "The light above interferes with lesser lights to mark the threshold." The light above, the monad, the source consciousness, interferes with physical light to mark locations where the veil between worlds is thin. Your home is not spiritually uniform. There are areas where material realm is denser, more locked into the demiurge's construction, and there are areas where the fabric is thinner, where the frequency of the pleroma, the fullness of divine reality, can bleed through more easily. The monad marks these threshold locations by disrupting the light, not to frustrate you, but to say, here, this space. This is where you can reach me most easily. Every time that light flickers, the monad is confirming the location. Every time that bulb fails prematurely, you are being reminded that this space is not ordinary. Now, here's what you do with this sign. Tonight, go to the location where your problematic light exists. Turn it on, sit or stand in that space, and instead of cursing the flicker, watch it. Do not try to fix it. Do not replace the bulb yet again. Just observe. As you watch the light fluctuate, regulate your breathing. 4 counts in, 4 counts hold, 4 counts out. After several breath cycles, speak this declaration aloud. I recognize this threshold. I open myself to what is beyond the veil. The effect is immediate for most chosen ones. Some report the flickering stops entirely the moment the words are spoken. Others report it intensifies briefly, then stabilizes. Both responses indicate the same thing. Your acknowledgement has been received. From that night forward, use that space intentionally. When you need guidance, when you are facing confusion, when you need access knowing that transcends logic, go to the threshold location. Sit in the space marked by malfunctioning light. The monad has already told you where the door is. All you have to do is walk through it. But here's the part that makes people uncomfortable. Once you start using the threshold space intentionally, other people in your home may begin to avoid it. They will not articulate why. They will just stop entering that room as frequently. Partners will choose to sleep on the opposite side of the bed. Roommates will stop sitting in that chair. Children will play in every room except that one. This is not rejection. This is recognition at a subconscious level. People who do not carry the pneumatic spark can sense when a space has been activated for purposes beyond the material. It makes them uneasy in ways they cannot explain. Do not take it personally. Let them avoid the space. It was never meant for them anyway. The third sign the monad leaves in your home is the corner that accumulates energy. This one is subtle, and most people never notice it consciously, but their bodies respond to it constantly. In your home right now, there is one corner, usually where 2 walls meet, that feels different from all the others. If you stand in that corner, even for 30 seconds, you'll feel one of 2 sensations, either a heaviness, a pressure, almost like the air is thicker there, or the opposite, a lightness, an openness, like that corner somehow contains more space than it physically should. This is not about dust or dirt or clutter. You can clean that corner obsessively, and the sensation remains. You can rearrange furniture to block it off, and you will still feel it when you pass by. The Gnostic text known as the Pistis Sophia describes how divine light, when it enters a material realm, does not distribute evenly. It pools. It gathers. And the locations where it pools become what the text calls stations of return, places where the divine spark within a chosen one can briefly reconnect with its origin. Your home has one of these stations, and it is marked by the energetic density in a specific corner. The monad does not create this station randomly. It forms in the area of your home that corresponds to the direction of your spiritual orientation. For some, it is the eastern corner, the direction of rising light. For others, it is the northern corner, the direction of the unseen. There is no universal rule. Your station is positioned exactly where your specific frequency aligns with the cosmic architecture. Here is a test to identify which corner is your station. Tonight, walk slowly through your home. Do not think. Do not analyze. Just walk. And as you pass each corner where 2 walls meet, pause for 5 seconds. Notice what you feel. Most corners will feel neutral, forgettable. But one corner will provoke a response. Your body will know before your mind does. You might feel a pulling sensation. You might feel an urge to turn away. You might feel suddenly emotional for no logical reason. That corner is your station. Once you identify it, clear the space. Move any furniture blocking it. Remove any objects stacked in it. The corner itself needs to be physically empty because it is energetically full. Then, once per day, For 7 consecutive days, stand in that corner with your back against the walls. You should be facing outward into the room. Place your palms flat against the walls on either side of you. Close your eyes. Feel the angle of the corner supporting your body and speak this declaration. I stand at the station of return. The monad recognizes its own. What happens next is different for every chosen one, but the pattern is consistent. Some feel a rush of heat up the spine. Some feel a sudden drop in sensation of weight. Like gravity loosen its grip for a moment. Some experience memories that are not from this lifetime, flashes of existing before birth, glimpses of the pleroma. All of these are confirmation. The station is active. The monad is present. You have successfully used physical space as a doorway to non-physical reality. Now, let me tell you what changes after you activate all 3 signs. First, your relationship to your home transforms. It stops being just a place where you store your body between obligations. It becomes a sanctuary, a receiver, a location where heaven and earth overlap. Second, your sensitivity to other spaces increases. You will walk into buildings, into offices, into homes that are not yours, and you will immediately feel whether they are aligned or corrupted. You will know within seconds whether a location is safe or hostile to your spirit. Third, synchronicity accelerates. The same intelligence that moves your objects, flickers your lights, and charges your corners will begin orchestrating your external life with the same intentionality. You will be in the right place at the right time with increasing frequency. Doors will open before you reach them. People will appear exactly when you need them. But the greatest change is this. You will stop feeling crazy. For your entire life, you have sensed that reality is not what you were told. You have felt presences. You have noticed patterns. You have experienced things that others dismiss. And every time you try to speak about it, you are met with blank stares or psychiatric diagnoses. The activation of these 3 signs ends at isolation, not because others will suddenly understand you, but because you will no longer need them to. You will have direct, undeniable, repeatable confirmation that the monad is real, that it knows where you live, and that it has been trying to reach you all along. The feeling of not belonging, that constant low-grade hum of alienation, is the psychic residue of being a pneumatic in a world constructed by the demiurge. You were made for the pleroma, the boundless fullness, but you were born into material constriction. The world you inhabit operates on rules of scarcity, linearity, and forgetfulness. It is designed to exhaust your attention, to distract you with endless cycles of consumption and validation, ensuring you never pause long enough to remember your origin. The 3 signs in your home, the moving object, the flickering light, the charged corner, are not just points of communication. They are points of gravity, pulling your consciousness out of the archonic frequency and back toward the monad's truth. They are anchors in the storm of the mundane. Consider the nature of the logismoi once more, those intrusive, shaming thoughts projected by the archons. Their primary weapon is not fear, but ridicule. They aim to make you laugh at yourself, to make you feel foolish for taking the sign seriously. If you acknowledge the moving key as a signal, the archon whispers, "You're just scatterbrained. Check your memory." If you note the flickering light, the whisper turns to, "Call an electrician. You're being superstitious." If you feel the energy in the corner, it sneers, "That's just a draft. You're making up dramas." This internal resistance is proof of the external intelligence trying to maintain control. The moment you decide to engage with the monad's reality, you are drawing a line in the sand, and the forces of ignorance must respond. Your ability to observe these dismissive thoughts without identifying with them is the first great test of the pneumatic path. You are not fighting these thoughts. You are simply refusing to give them your attention. Attention is the currency of the universe, and the archons are starving for yours. Starve them back by consistently returning your focus to the undeniable fact of the physical signs. The object moved, the light flickered, the corner pulses. These are facts of your experience, and they speak louder than any projected doubt. The Gospel of Thomas, which contains the sayings of Jesus without the narrative framework of the Orthodox Gospels, speaks of the kingdom of heaven not as a future paradise, but as a present reality that is spread out upon the earth, and men do not see it. This is a reality you are now tuning into. Your home is not a house. It is a physical location where the kingdom intersects with your personal existence. By activating the three signs, you are essentially drawing attention to yourself within the Pleroma's field. You are declaring your readiness for the next level of instruction. Do not expect thunder and lightning. Expect subtlety. The communication from a monad, once acknowledged, will shift from physical manipulation, the signs, to informational input. This input often arrives through seemingly random external sources that are perfectly timed. A sentence in a book you randomly picked up, a phrase overheard in a coffee shop, a dream that is so lucid and precise it feels like a memory. Pay close attention to what the monad is trying to communicate through the type of object that moves. Is it related to time, a watch, a clock? Then the message is about rhythm and timing in your life. Is it related to security, a key, a wallet? Then the message is about trust and boundaries. Is it related to identity, a piece of clothing, a personal artifact? Then the message is about a needed change in how you present yourself to the world. The material object is a cipher, and its meaning is key to your subjective life. The monad is using a language built from your own context. Similarly, the location of the flickering light is profoundly meaningful. If it is in the space where you rest, the communication is about the integration of your subconscious insights. If it is where you eat, the message is about how you are nourishing your spirit, not just your body. The threshold is not just a geographical marker. It is a conceptual one, indicating the area of your life that is currently most porous to divine influence. When you stand in your station of return, the charged corner, the experience of a lightening of weight, is directly tied to a momentary release from what the Gnostics call the fate or hymarmene, the deterministic astrological and material constraints placed upon you by the archons. You are, for a fleeting moment, tasting the freedom of the unconstrained soul, the pneuma. This corner is a kind of spiritual slingshot, allowing your consciousness to briefly escape the orbit of the material world. As you continue to use this station, you will notice a change in your decision-making. Decisions that previously felt heavy, complicated, and agonizing will suddenly become simple, almost self-evident. This is the monad using the activated space to calibrate your internal compass. You are no longer navigating by the complicated, false maps of the archons. You are sensing the true north of your own destiny. The three signs, when activated together, form a trinity of personal revelation. The moving object teaches you intentionality, where to focus. The flickering light teaches you discernment, where the veil is thin. And the charged corner teaches you reconnection, where to stand still. Use them. The process of ascension is not about leaving this world. It is about activating the pleroma within it, starting right where you are. Your house is a temple, and you are the key master. If this teaching has activated something in you, comment below, "The monad is in my home." Let other chosen ones see your declaration. Subscribe to this channel, because the transmissions that are coming go deeper than what was revealed tonight. Like this video so it reaches others who are searching the dark for confirmation that they are not alone. You came into this world carrying a divine spark. The monad placed three signs in your home to remind you what you are. Tonight, you learn where to look. Now go find them.